Welcome to English Corner. In the next few minutes, we'll break down some of the key sentences from this story to help you understand the grammar and learn how to speak English more naturally, so stick around. In the opening of this video, you heard a piano solo. It's Beethoven's, for Elise. Today, we're about to talk something about Beethoven. Can you imagine writing some of the world's greatest music without being able to hear a single note? It sounds impossible, right? But that's exactly what Ludwig van Beethoven did. This is not just the story of a famous composer. It's the story of a man who defied fate, changed music forever, and proved that true genius doesn't need perfect conditions to shine. There's a famous quote, often attributed to Beethoven. When a critic told him his music was too complex, too strange, he simply replied, "They are not for you, but for a later age." And he was right. Generations later, the world finally caught up to his vision. Unlike Bach, Mozart, or Haydn, Beethoven didn't just follow the rule, she rewrote them. He redefined what a symphony could be, what an orchestra could sound like. Historians call him both the last of the classical composers and the first of the romantics, and he built that bridge almost entirely on his own. His influence didn't stop with his own generation. Brahms, Schubert, Mahler, Richard Strauss were deeply inspired by him. But it wasn't just his technical mastery that made Beethoven extraordinary. It was his refusal to follow trends, his deep belief that art must have meaning. He became a symbol of artistic freedom across all creative fields. But here comes the part that feels almost like a miracle. Some of Beethoven's most powerful works, the Ninth Symphony, the Missa Solemnis, and his final 5-string quartets, were written after he had gone completely deaf. Yes, deaf. The man could no longer hear the music, yet he kept composing masterpieces that still move us today. Beethoven was born in Bonn, Germany, but like many great composers of the time, he moved to Vienna, heart of classical music. He was a brilliant pianist, and he brought the piano to the front of the orchestra like never before. His 32 piano sonatas, 5 piano concertos, and 10 violin sonatas are studied and performed to this day. Every new generation of musicians finds something new in them. They are like deep oceans no one has ever reached the bottom. But life wasn't kind to Beethoven. Before he even turned 30, he began losing his hearing. Imagine the fear, the pain, the silence closing in on a man whose world was built on sound. He once considered ending his life, but somehow, miraculously, he didn't, and the world is better because of it. Even as his hearing faded, his music became bolder, more emotional, more revolutionary. He expanded the size of the orchestra. He made symphonies longer, more intense, more human. He didn't just write music, poured his soul onto the page. In the last decade of his life, Beethoven couldn't hear a thing. Yet he created music that still speaks to us centuries later. That's not just talent, that's vision, that's power. That's a miracle. So when we talk about Beethoven, we're not just talking about music. We're talking about what it means to create, even when the world goes silent. We're talking about the strength to go on when it seems like everything is lost. Beethoven didn't just compose notes. He composed hope. Sentence 1. They are not for you, but for a later age. Let's break this one down. This sentence uses a classic contrast structure. Not for A, but for B. It means something is not intended for one group, but for another. It's direct, elegant, and useful. Grammar point. We have two parallel prepositional phrases. For you, for a later age, they're joined with not, but, to create contrast. Example sentence. This book is not for beginners, but for advanced learners. Try it yourself in a conversation. This movie isn't just for kids, but for adults too. Sentence 2. He didn't just write music, poured his soul onto the page. Now this one is powerful. It uses the structure. Didn't just A. He also B. This shows that someone did more than just one thing. They did something deeper, more meaningful. Grammar point. Didn't just plus verb equals emphasis. Poured his soul equals metaphor, meaning he expressed deep emotion. Onto equals movement to a surface, like paper. Example sentence. She didn't just teach the lesson, she inspired the whole class. You can use this in daily life, like, he didn't just cook dinner, he created a masterpiece. And that's it for today's grammar highlights. If you liked learning English through real stories, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned next time. We'll break down more inspiring sentences from history's greatest lives. See you soon.